So at this point, we are happy to answer any questions that folks have.
What's this going to cost?
Same as it would have cost. We think about $400 million.
Why isn't it cheaper if you're taking down all that elevated structure? Isn't it less expensive to build?
That savings helped us to afford some of the other improvements that we're able to make to accommodate some of the city's needs. Both that and the condensing of the westward move to a single bridge structure afforded us the kinds of savings that we needed in order to make other improvements, such as the bike paths and some of the changes to Toby Street and the creation of that additional land.
So can you quantify for us what is that trade-off, how much you saved and how much you had to pay for the neighborhood connections and the bike paths?
Yeah, I haven't made a direct correlation between the two because as we progressed through this, we had a continuous process of making modifications to the plans and getting new kinds of estimates, engineering estimates as we're going along to see how the changes we made fluctuated the cost and then what we needed to do to bring them back down. But ultimately, the mass balance between the two still puts us with this project at the $400 million mark.
When is it going to be complete? I know it says construction would begin next fall. When would this all be done?
It's a 5-year construction project. So if we can get this awarded during the next several months, we hope to get the shovel in the ground before the end of next year and then have a 5-year period. And it'll be done in phases so that we'll be keeping traffic flowing and keeping it convenient for the travelers along here. We'll still be able to get 100,000 vehicles a day through this. But we're doing it as a design-build project, which will help us accelerate the time and actually lower the cost.
I know these bridges are decaying. Governor, do you think 5 years will be in good shape with the bridges? You know, the current ones will last that long until it's done?
Yes, I mean, as I said, that's why I put us on a tight timeline. We don't have time to waste, and we're going to continue with the quarterly inspections. We wouldn't be leaving these open if they weren't safe. So, and we're going to continue to reinforce them to make sure that they're safe. But as I said in September, this state has wasted millions and millions and millions of dollars every year for a long time propping up these bridges on Band-Aids. And so what we're seeing here today is enough of that old way of doing things. Let's rebuild and let's do it in a new way. Having said that, it's going to be safe the whole way through, and we will continue to prop it up just as we've been doing to make sure that it's safe.
What happened to the halo idea?
It was considered. What we did when we started this, we got together and I said to the team, okay, safety is the watchword. This is your budget. This is your timeline. This has to be done by the end of the year. You can't have any worse traffic flow. In fact, I want to see better traffic flow. And we'd like to see a better design, as we've done here, you know, fix the missing move, whatever. And so we looked at the halo and the congestion. Well, I can let Director Alviti talk to the details, or Bami, but it didn't fit that criteria. So we went through a number of different options, halo option, various other options. We ran the traffic through it, but it was either the various options were either too expensive, couldn't deal with the traffic flow, was going to make it more congested, or was going to take too long.
Does this require... And I'll jump in on that. So we've, as the governor said, we looked at a number of different options throughout the process, and what the halo would have done is it would have narrowed the entire roadway, but because of that, it would have made it very difficult for the big rigs, so the large trucks, to make that move, especially from Route 10 coming downtown onto 6 West. And so we looked at it with traffic engineers, and it just wasn't possible, wasn't able to work. And through just collective brainstorming processes, that's how we came to this design that accomplishes all of those same goals, but narrowing the highway just wasn't possible. But we looked at it with architects and engineers and all.
To both of you, if I might, how satisfied are you with the outcome and the process that got you here?
I'm very satisfied. I'm very satisfied because, you know, we engaged a number of folks from the community. My planning department was involved from the very beginning. And, you know, with a project like this, you know, we knew that there were certain parameters, right? We have this timeline, we have this budget, and we have to move people back and forth. We have that. But within these parameters, given the process that we went through, I'm confident that we came up with the absolute best design that we could have. And I don't disagree with the governor, but I would say even if we had more time, you know, we would have come up with something similar like this. Folks have been, you know, at the table and, you know, working very hard. We've considered just about every option. So I'm very confident that the process we went through led us to the best design.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But, you know, deadlines are great things. So I use that as a management tool to get everybody to the table and work over Thanksgiving and work over the weekend and make this work. And I agree with you. If I had given you 6 more months, you probably would have come up with the same exact thing. So that's why I said that the team, kudos to the team. Everybody got together, was creative, and worked within the parameters that we have. It was really, it was an exercise in problem solving. I mean, we would get together and we just solve the problem. And to your point about the halo, it didn't work. And once we all looked at the data around the congestion, the traffic pattern, we said, okay, this doesn't work. What would work? What would work? And this is what we've come up with.
Does this require federal approval? And then the new design for this missing link, has that been approved? It seems like a tight, I don't know, turning angle. It just seems kind of tight. So does this require federal approval?
Yep. So, if you,
Go ahead.
yeah. So this is a conceptual design. This is not even preliminary or, you know, middle stage design. This is a very conceptual design. However, we have had engineering consultants on board. Both the city and the state had 2 consultants on board. We did have them run the traffic modeling, computer modeling, to make sure that the turns, the radii, the traffic volumes going through all segments of this would work from a congestion standpoint, and they do. And the details of the exact geometry and dimensions will roll itself out as we get into the design-build kind of procurement. All of the federal requirements with regard to environmental reviews will be done as part of that design-build process.
How about it, Mr. Machado? Are you satisfied with this? Is it going to work, or do you still have things you need to look at?
Well, as Director already mentioned, with the preliminary design, we need to verify all the calculation, all these things.
Concept-wise, you're okay, you just need to look at the actual design.
I don't have enough information for that to make any decision now.
You don't have enough information.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks.
In order to move forward with this design and all of the features that you guys have mentioned, what's the next step from here?
So the next step is to, we've already started the next step, as a matter of fact. The procurement process for a design-build contract is the next step. We will be working during the next month, just as hard as we worked on preparing these plans, to prepare the RFP for a design-build contract on this that will bring companies together that will submit proposals to do the design, the environmental permitting, the federal highway approvals that are necessary, and the construction of this. This is a project delivery method that has been used very successfully to accelerate projects like this and afford the best product at the lowest price.
So there'll still be 9 bridges, right? But one will be smaller?
There will still be 9 bridges, and one of them will be much smaller and simpler to maintain. But no, actually, I think the overpasses that you saw at Westminster and Broadway, that 3rd layer will be eliminated. So there'll be a couple of bridges there that'll be eliminated.
So we'll go from 9 to
7.
So we'll have 7 bridges. Okay.
One of those was part of the Huntington Viaduct, one viaduct.
It was like
a
a
half
big-
so.
Okay, so the hunting viaduct is not one of 9, it includes
It included
multiple
that,
of 9?
Yeah, so the other one wasn't, so it would have.
So 7 bridges.
Governor, is this the biggest project that you and the city, Mayor, have had to work together on? Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Probably.
Dollar-wise, I
Yeah,
think so.
certainly dollar-wise, and I would say yes. I mean, this is a huge project. We're making decisions here that are gonna affect Rhode Islanders for decades. This isn't a 1-year, 2-year decision. It's gonna put over 1,000 people to work in the next 5 years. It's hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money. So, yes, it's the biggest collaboration we've had so far. And I will say again, we work well together. I mean, we kept staying at the table. I mean, they would come in and brief me and say, can we have 4 more days? Can we have 10 more days? And the director and Bonnie's team really were hand in glove. How do we solve this problem? How do we solve this problem? And the result is, for the people of Rhode Island, safety, safer bridges, over 1,000 jobs, and less congestion, and better traffic, and more open space over time. So, you know, we worked through it. We've worked through it together, you know, compromising and finding solutions.
So,
So, and to jump on this, so, I mean, this is a major project, $400 million that cut right through the heart of the city. And, you know, as the governor mentioned, both of our teams, they worked through Thanksgiving holiday, they would work through every weekend, and they met regularly, and it was truly a joint effort. And I think that the urgency behind it is because we understood the magnitude of it, not just in terms of dollars, but the fact that the way that the highway exists right now, it's been that way for 60 years. So whatever we build right now, this is a legacy that we're leaving behind. And you know, unfortunately, it was done that way in the past, that it cut off certain neighborhoods. And we understood that the work that we did would go beyond simply infrastructure. It would shape, literally shape our neighborhoods and the way that our community connects and interacts. And so because of that urgency, as well as the safety concerns, we did everything that we could and everything that we needed to do to meet the deadlines and put forward this project.
last question, Mayor. Some folks are gonna say that this still doesn't go far enough to reconnect those neighborhoods. The lanes are still there blocking Silver Lake and Olneyville. What is your response to that critique?
Yeah, what I'll begin by saying is that we've looked at every possible angle to this. And you know, at the beginning of this process, there was talk about a boulevard, there was talk about a parkway. That proved to be impossible. First, because of the topography of the land, but also because of the train tracks on the other side. You know, we've looked at it, we've considered it, we've brought in outside help, outside engineers and architects, but it just couldn't be. And so, you know, I'm confident and comfortable that, you know, we did our due diligence, and you know, through this process, we came up with the absolute best design, you know, within the parameters that the city can hope for. So I'm very happy with the way that we ended up, and it's because of that community engagement that this project ended up this way.
Director,
Governor,
Director, there's a lot going on with the Amtrak future corridor, and this goes over the Amtrak tracks. Did you leave room for the Amtrak corridor, like, get bigger and stuff?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.